Let's amplify your comments. Imagine how little debating you would do if everyone stopped the debate by claiming they had been offended. Try having this same debate in Saudi Arabia and see what happens.
And I am firmly of the view that the way Islam is practiced in 2024 in the United Kingdom, it is not compatible with our liberal democracy.
It's hard to breathe, but that's alright.
Yo, ladies and gentlemen, you know what time it is. It's your boy Shady, the one and only. And today, guys, we are back again. Today, guys, we'll be jumping into a very sensitive topic where Habib, a British Pakistani politician from a Muslim family, from a Muslim background, argues that Islam must reform and liberalize to reconcile with modern day democracy. Let me emphasize this point. He is British, Pakistani, from Pakistan, from a Muslim family, and this is his argument. Anyway, that's not too much, guys. Let's jump straight into this one because I bet you it's going to be very enlightening.
And I am firmly of the view that the way Islam is practiced in 2024 in the United Kingdom, it is not compatible with our liberal democracy. Moreover, and this is the main part of what I wish to focus on, the way our liberal democracy has evolved has made the United Kingdom particularly vulnerable to strident, unremitting, proselytizing, muscular ideologies.
Listen to those words he said. Listen to those qualitative words. This man is unapologetic. He said it is not compatible. Okay, let's carry on. Let's listen to him. These are his views.
Thank you very much, President.
This house believes Islam is a threat to democracy. Okay, proposition.
Members of the Oxford Union Committee for inviting me tonight. I have to say that even though it's been an ambition of mine to speak here, the topic that was offered up is one that is particularly sensitive. And I thought long and hard about whether or not I should take this mandate. But of course, this is a bastion of free speech. And so I will speak without fear and without favor on this debate.
Perfect. That is what I like, all right? Speak without fear, speak without favor, all right? Just speak the facts, the truth, okay? Call a spade, not a big spoon. That's it.
And the first thing I'd like to say, if I may, is that the motion isn't quite right. And I say the motion isn't quite right because I'm not interested in a debate about Islam's compatibility with democracy in theory, or whether it's been compatible with democracy in the past, or whether through some kind of genesis it may be compatible in the future. What I'm concerned about is whether Islam is compatible, and Zudi mentioned it in his speech, with the liberal democracy that we practice in the United Kingdom.
Okay.
For it is the United Kingdom that gave rise to this institution and the ability for us to have this debate, as I say, which I will have without fear or favor.
Isn't it very imperialist to assume and impose only one version of democracy?
So isn't it very imperialist to assume and impose only one version of democracy, which is a British parliamentary democracy, the Western conception of the world, and assume that just because Muslim majority countries do not adhere to the same rules and laws means that they must be incompatible with democracy?
Which is the British parliamentary democracy, the Western conception of the world, and assume that just because Muslim majority countries do not adhere to the same rules and laws means that they must be incompatible with democracy.
Okay, without listening to everything else, yeah, I think this question is uncalled for because he's talking about the United Kingdom, all right, talking about living in this country, not living in another country or another Muslim country.
I'm not. No. You're misinterpreting what I was saying. I'm not interested in whether Islam is capable of being compatible with democracy. I'm only interested in whether Islam is compatible with our democracy in the United Kingdom.
Simple. That is it. Where is that man? Where is his question come from? This chap just interrupting Ben Habib. Allow Ben to speak. He's talking about the United Kingdom and you're talking about a different country. No, I want to hear what he said again. Listen to his answer.
I'm not. No. You're misinterpreting. You're misinterpreting what I was saying. I'm not interested in whether Islam is capable of being compatible with democracy. I'm only interested in whether Islam is compatible with our democracy in the United Kingdom, because I live in the United Kingdom and I'm a British citizen. And so for me, this isn't a theoretical debate. For me, this is a practical debate. Where is Islam at the moment, and where is our liberal democracy in the United Kingdom? So let me start with two anecdotes. 2 years ago, the Dean of Trinity College defended a junior fellow at Evensong when he described Jesus as being transgender and the wound on Jesus' chest that he received from a Roman spear as resembling a vagina. That dean still has his job. He attracted a bit of public opprobrium at the time, but it blew over within 48 hours, and he still has his job at Trinity College, Cambridge. Compare that to the fate of the grammar school teacher in Batley who circulated some caricatures of the Prophet Muhammad, was threatened with his life after circulating those pictures, was removed from his post immediately by his school, and still lives in hiding. That is in modern United Kingdom.
What else can we say? What else? What else can we say?
Now, it might be that Islam can find its way to being compatible with democracy, but I can find no sense of the freedom of speech evident in the way that that grammar school teacher was treated. The freedom of speech, which is the cornerstone of the house in which I am now speaking, and the cornerstone of British democracy.
Yeah.
It is entirely incompatible with democracy that that grammar school teacher should still be hiding, fearing for his life in the United Kingdom in 2024.
Wow.
So let me just talk a little bit about Islam. The Quran is the word of God. It is the word of God written down by the Prophet Muhammad as communicated to him by the angel Gabriel. It is the word of God. It cannot be improved. It is perfect. And because it is perfect, it has no truck with criticism. Compare that to the, frankly, absurd description offered up by the Dean of Trinity College 2 years ago. Can you imagine, ladies and gentlemen, for a second, the treatment that Dean would have received if he had described the Prophet Muhammad in those terms? Denied. So I am here to talk about liberal democracy and its compatibility with Islam. And I am firmly of the view that the way Islam is practiced in 2024 in the United Kingdom, it is not compatible with our liberal democracy. Moreover, and this is the main part of what I wish to focus on, the way our liberal democracy has evolved has made the United Kingdom particularly vulnerable to strident, unremitting, proselytizing, muscular ideologies. And the reason I say that is that even though it was our liberalism that allowed us to think beyond the zenith of our power and abolish slavery, even though it was our liberalism that moved us to abolish the ownership of slaves and then the policing of slavery on the high seas at vast human cost and money for this country. It was our liberalism that gave women the vote. It was our liberalism that promoted women and gave them equal standing in British society.
Yes, sir.
It was our liberalism on which our democracy was founded. Our liberalism at the moment is going wrong. It has gone, no, I'm in mid-flow. It has gone too far, our liberalism. And I was interested to hear the debate between the current president of the union and various interlocutors before this debate started. A lot of it turned on what I would regard as diversity, equity, and inclusion. There was a lot of talk about racism. There was talk about a woman being photographed, and she was particularly offended because she was Muslim. Why did that play any part in the description of her offense? Sure, she could be rightly offended for being photographed without her permission.
What is that directed to the chat?
Was offended by certain comments made.
I'm sure the speaker will not refer to that topic.
Well, I'm sorry if I've offended anyone. I'll cease discussing that topic.
Oh, wait. You're telling me someone got offended by his debate? You're telling me someone got offended by his speech? What did he say here that was offensive at all? What did he say? He didn't call no names. He was speaking generally, even though he was talking about a topic, but he didn't mention specifics. And people are getting offended already. You see the state of the United Kingdom. He was making a point. You can get offended if a picture of you is taken without you having to mention your faith. That's what he's getting at. Poor Ben, he had to apologize for trying to, make a point.
Diversity, equality, and inclusion is the mistake our liberalism is making in order to promote minorities in the United Kingdom. We are now a multicultural society, and in order to give comfort to those new cultures that have entered the United Kingdom, our liberalism now progressively discriminates in their favor.
Yes.
Democracy, which is for the majority, has taken a backseat to liberalism, which is for the individual. And what we've got in the United Kingdom, and make no mistake about it, is not an integrated, settled society. Through diversity, equity, and inclusion, and the promotion of minorities over and above, and if necessary, and often to the detriment of the majority, we have created cultural silos. And I'm not just talking about Muslims, I'm talking about Hindus, I'm talking about different forms of Muslims, and gender ideology, I don't really know how to describe them. All sorts of minorities are now being promoted, celebrated, and practiced in cultural silos. And Islam is the strongest one of those silos. And Islam is a strident, muscular ideology. Unless Islam is able to liberalize itself, and it is able to see itself as being no more than equal to all other ideologies and all other religions in this country, it is not compatible with British liberal democracy. Thank you very much, everyone.
Wow. He unapologetically made his point. He said it clearly, like no one could have said it better. All right, no one could have said it better. There's so much, discrimination now in this country based on, certain demographic in the country. And that's just truth. Yeah, this is just fact. This is what's going on. Okay, this is without anyone taking any side. This is without anyone spitting propaganda. You come to the UK, it is very evident. I'm speechless. I haven't got much to say right now because he said it so eloquently. I don't think anyone could have said it better. And consider the fact that he is a British Pakistani. He's from a Muslim Pakistani family. I keep emphasizing Pakistani because it is really cool. And for him to get to this point, go in the UK, insane. Okay, let's amplify your comments. Imagine how little debating you would do if everyone stopped the debate by claiming they had been offended. Exactly. Try having this same debate in Saudi Arabia and see what happens. I say nothing. Interrupting on the basis of being offended is the same tactic used with the word Islamophobia. It is designed to shut down legitimate discussion and criticism. This again proves his point that it is incompatible. For me guys, I'll leave you with this message. Whenever you find yourself in any country, you need to find a way to integrate. That is it. Not every country is for everyone. Rather than trying to change a country, alright, try to find a way to either help the country improve, develop, okay, as you settle, or if you feel the country you're at, alright, and the culture is not compatible for you, you find another one. You know what I mean? Rather than create a replica of the country from which they came from. Anyways, just a view, and I hope you guys enjoyed this one, guys. I'm gonna catch you next video. Peace.
Oh, I love you more than words can say. You are me. Oh, you are the light that shine in my way. You are me. Oh, I love you more than words can say. You are me. Oh, you are the light that shine in my way.